Hi guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Javon. I don't even know what to say, honestly. My name is Javon. What's up? How are you guys doing tonight or today, whatever time you're watching this, I guess. This is my first ever YouTube video. And I'm just kind of chilling, and today I just wanted to talk about a couple of things that were on my mind in relation to confidence and being confident and being a confident Black woman in the world, I guess, and some of the hard truths I feel like about being confident that I feel like is really important for a lot of girls to understand, and it's something that I'm still working on understanding, so I'm not an expert or anything like that. I'm just speaking from my own experiences of life. But yeah, before I get started, I just wanted to say thank you for joining me, and thank you for being a part of this today. This is really exciting for me. This is something that I wanted to do for a long time, just having a YouTube channel. I primarily will probably be someone who just kind of does this and sits and talks to you guys, and just kind of has some conversations and kind of opens things up for you guys to think about, and hopefully you either gain some knowledge or find yourself answering some questions or asking yourself some questions, or just understanding yourself a bit more, or even just coming to listen to me talk, which is cool too. But yeah, so okay, I feel like confidence is something that is talked about so much on the internet, people talk about like how to become more confident, how to be more confident, how to like exude confidence, how to be fearlessly confident, all these things. And of course I caught up on all of these things, and I have used a lot of the tactics that other girls have mentioned and other women have mentioned on TikTok or YouTube, whatever it is, and they have helped me a lot in my life, and I'm really, really grateful for all those things. Do I like this orange light for real? Okay, yeah, I think so. Anyway, I was just like, do I really like this? But something that I noticed in my confidence journey was I kind of expected life to get easier for me the more confident that I was, because and in ways it did, but in ways it also did not. So I realized so much of it got better for me in the sense of I was able to love myself more, and I've been able to love myself more, and I've been able to like really walk in my confidence and be like really excited about the fact that I'm confident. However, there are things that I feel like we don't talk about that come with being a confident person sometimes, and how it kind of affects your day-to-day life, and how it kind of affects your day-to-day life with other people, and people your age, people who are older than you, men, women, children. I'm kidding. Children don't give a fuck, really. But yeah, so that's kind of what I'm here to talk about. One thing that I think there's like, let me look at this list. I have some notes, because if I don't have notes, I will go off on so many tangents and this probably won't make any sense. It's probably like, so I need to have my notes and see what I want to talk about first. Okay, so we can talk about like the obvious ones that I feel like a lot of people know first about when it comes to being like a confident woman. Obviously, you will notice jealousy. You will notice a lot of people around you all of a sudden are very jealous, and jealousy I feel like can be shown in a lot of different ways. It's not always like super blatant and like in your face. But I have experienced jealousy on a lot of different levels from other people in my life, and a lot of times I haven't always realized like right away that it was jealousy, or if it was just like small microaggression, so like just small enough for you to kind of be like, oh well, I don't know, but it's like, no, yeah. So that's like kind of an obvious one. And then also to like, as a Black woman who is very confident, white women, y'all need to get yourself together, because if I have another white woman say some fucked up shit to me, or just like a microaggression, or just something, just because she's threatened by me, oh my god. Anyway, so those are ones that I feel like a lot of people know about and like talk about. But one thing that I feel like was really prevalent in my life, and that I noticed when I started to kind of like really pay attention to my own confidence journey, and like just having more what do you call it, like mindfulness about, you know, making sure that I'm showing up as my most confident self, was I started noticing that there were a lot of people around me who had a lot of self-deprecating behaviors, and sought validation from me through those self-deprecating behaviors. So I feel like I noticed this a lot at my job. I feel like I noticed this in my family at times too. Like, I also noticed this just with like, sometimes, just like friends, or just like, and I won't really say friends. I won't really say friends, but, I did notice it just like a lot of times, like coworkers, or, male and female too. I will say male and female, and we'll talk about kind of the differences between those two. Also, it is storming outside, so that's exciting. But when it comes to female coworkers, or like just females, and a lot of the females that I've dealt with, and also like for some reason, I don't know why, I feel like I sound like a fucking, like I sound like a man being out here like these females, like I hate that, but like, so we'll say women. A lot of the women that I experienced having these like self-deprecating like behaviors around me, they would do this was kind of slick. And a lot of times because this happened to me before, like this happened to me so much longer ago, like before I even like realized this was happening, but it's been happening to me my whole life, and I just like started to realize it like recently. But what happens is like, have you ever noticed how like, oh Stevie, my cat I think is hungry, give me one sec. Are you hungry? I got something to drink too, because I was tired of talking so much. Stevie, if my cat decides to have her zoomies right now, she's doing that thing where like I don't know if anyone else's cat does this, but like when she's in like the middle of like her zoomies, if you like so much as like flinch or like move towards her, she's like I was like, girl, calm down. So yes, pay attention to people who are have self-deprecating behaviors. Those are not people that you really want to be around. And what I mean by this is people who I had a lot of experiences where people would say certain things, or like they would just say something self-deprecating about themselves. They would just be like, oh, you know, they would call themselves like fat in front of me, or they would call themselves ugly in front of me, or they would give me a compliment and then proceed to say something negative about themselves. And so whenever those would happen, I would find myself in this like kind of weird, like in this weird space of like kind of being like, now I feel like I have to like comfort you, and I have to like build you back up, like, you know. And so I was like, I always found myself in those positions, I just found myself in those positions a lot with some of the people that were around me. And I always hated being in those situations. Like, I just didn't like being in those situations, and it just made me feel so uncomfortable. And it also made me feel like all of a sudden this person's confidence and this person's love for themselves was like my responsibility, or even on the opposite side of that, that this person's dislike of themselves was my fault. Like, and so I feel like that was something that I never really like realized, and I was always very quick to be like, no, like, you are so beautiful, like, you shouldn't even like think about any of those things, da 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 da, and like, you shouldn't even say that about yourself, like, because I think that you are so beautiful, or, you know, this and that, and in a way, I feel like something that this is gonna sound like maybe slightly controversial, and I'm sure that this is not everyone's like intention when they do things like this, but to me it kind of comes off as a form of slight manipulation almost, because all of a sudden now you the person who like exudes this confidence, all of a sudden it's like you are placed into this position of having to kind of bear the burden of this person's self-hate, or this person's like dislike of themselves. You know, self-hate is like strong, but like this person's dislike of themselves or dislike of certain parts of themselves. And I hated being put into that position, and I still don't like being put into that position. Back to like the manipulation thing is like, I always found myself feeling like I had to, almost like feeling bad that I felt so confident, and feeling bad that I loved myself so much, feeling bad that I couldn't find anything about myself that I didn't like, you know, because I feel like, you know, that saying like misery loves company. A lot of times when people do things like that, I always kind of feel like it can be a little bit of a trap of like, they want you to also then say something about yourself that you don't like, you know, or say something that you also like, you know, or be like, oh yeah, like, you know, well, you know, I don't have that problem, but I don't like this about myself, or like, I don't like that about myself, or whatever. And I never obviously did any of that because I was like, bro, like, I don't feel that way about myself. I actually really like the way that I really like the way that I look, and I really like the way that I am. And so I found myself in those situations a lot. And so I just say, be mindful of those types of people in your life, because you don't want to be around them. And when you are around them and they do kind of bait you with that, like, I've learned now that like, it is not my job to build up confidence in somebody else. It is not my job to build up confidence in another person. The only people that I feel like where it's like actually my responsibility to help them, like help build their confidence, is kids, like literal kids, like people who are adults, or people who are even older than me, like, or people who are close to me in age. It is not my job. It is not my job to lift them up, and it is not your job to lift them up as well. And when I say that, I only mean that in the sense of like, when they are self-deprecating towards themselves, or at least I mean this when this is a pattern with certain people. Like, if you have a friend and they message you and they're like, bro, I just like do not feel pretty today, or something like that, you know, like, obviously I'm gonna be like, dude, no, like, you're beautiful and stop it. But I mean people who like, every time you're around them, they have something negative to say about themselves in comparison to you. And so yeah, I don't know, I always feel like I have found myself like really frustrated by those situations, because I am not here to build your confidence, because do you know how long it took me to build my confidence? And do you know how long it took me to get to the place where I am today? And truthfully, while I'm so grateful for the friends that I have had who have reminded me, that I'm beautiful, and reminded me that I'm smart, and that I'm intelligent, and that I'm loved, I also understand that that is something that definitely has to start within yourself. And So I don't say self-deprecating things about myself, and I don't really give people space around me to say self-deprecating things around me. And I also don't always, like, this may sound like I'm a dick, but I whenever people do, I don't always give into the bait of it. So it's like, it is not my job to make you feel good about yourself. It's no one's job to make you feel good about yourself. It is your own job to make yourself feel good about yourself. And that may sound really, really harsh, but that's just something that I have had to learn, and I've noticed over the time, over the course of my life. And yeah, so that's number one. That's one of the first things that I wanted to talk about when it comes to your confidence journey, is just be wary of people who are very self-deprecating around you, because usually that it's a way of them trying to make you feel small or shrink yourself. Because I would find myself in those positions where someone would say something really self-deprecating, and then because I didn't feel the same, and there was almost a part of me that felt bad that I didn't feel the same, because I'd be like, well, I can't agree with you, because like I still love myself and I don't feel that way about myself. And I could tell that they were expecting me to agree with them, and I will never agree with anyone who is being self-deprecating. So that's something to keep in mind, is just to avoid those types of people if you can. And even to, like, I will say I have some family members who do this. I have a lot of women in my family who make comments about the way that they look. And it's not necessarily in comparison to me, but it's definitely like they will say things about themselves. And obviously I know that a lot of this stuff runs deeper than, meets the eye. But even in those situations, sometimes it's just not even, I found that it's just not even worth it really sometimes to argue with that person about argue against their own self-deprecation, because like, I'm so sorry, but some people like are so stuck in their ways of that. Like, they just feel that way about themselves, and they have for so long that they really don't know how else to feel about themselves. And so it's just kind of like, sometimes there's really just no point in it, and it's almost like you're wasting your own energy trying to get this person to see that they are actually very beautiful, and that they don't have to feel that way about themselves. But as a confident woman, it is not your job to lift up other people, and I feel like that happens a lot, because people see your confidence and they want what you have, and obviously, and that's okay, you know what I mean? I feel like that's totally okay, like, because I definitely, growing up, I saw a lot of women who were very confident, and even girls my age who were very confident, and I was very envious, and I was very jealous, and I was like, oh my god, I wish I was that confident, or I want that. And luckily for me, I was able to channel that, and I was able to change that and realize that I could use that as inspiration instead of actually being like upset with this person or this girl. I was never actually like mad at anyone for being like more attractive than me or anything like that. It was just more of like, damn, must be nice. But I allowed that to turn into inspiration for me, and say, you know what, if this woman can be this confident, I can do it too. And so yeah, just there's something to keep in mind. Another thing that I wanted to talk about when it comes to, that kind of plays off of this as well, is when you are on your like confidence journey, or you are someone who naturally exudes a lot of confidence, like, there are going to be people who will seek validation from you on a daily basis. There will be people who need your attention constantly. There will be people who fight for your attention constantly. And this kind of shifts the conversation away from women onto men, because I feel like I've experienced this more with men than I have with women, where I have felt, especially in the workspace, like I have felt this very deeply in the workspace sometimes, where there are men who will seek out your attention at any given at any given moment. They want your attention all the time. They want you to be talking to them all the time. They want you to be having your eyes on them all the time. And they want you to be engaging with them all the time. And for me, a specific situation comes up for me with a coworker of mine that I had where it was just someone that I worked with where I just did not vibe with them at all, and I felt like we just did not click. We didn't click, and I was okay with that. I was like, you know what? I don't need to click with this person, because I also understand that, like, in a work environment, you're not meant to be friends with everyone that you work with. And for me, I thought, as long as I am cordial and as long as I am nice cordial when I come to work, and I'm not being a dick to this person for just like no reason or whatever, like, I'm fine. And if I'm just like minding my own business, like, there shouldn't be like a problem. But to this person, it was a problem. And so I found myself in situations where we would be working together and I would just be minding my own business. And at the time, I worked somewhere where I was able to have like a lot of downtime. So like I was able to sit on my phone, or I was able to bring like a book to work, or, my journal or something, or just something that I could do just to like mind my own business. Let me take a drink because damn. Yummy. But yeah, I was able to just like mind my own business at work. And excuse me. And I had this coworker who literally, like, when I would just be minding my own business, and out of nowhere, he would just like ask me like the most random ass questions about myself and just about just anything. Like he would just ask me just really random questions. None of them were like inappropriate or anything, because it wasn't like that at all, but it was just like small. And I don't do small talk either. And like I can't do small talk. I just can't do small talk. And because it's so empty to me. And so it would just be like stupid questions where I was just like, I don't give a fuck. I'd like to say it as kindly as I can. I don't give a fuck. Like, I just don't give a fuck. I've never said that, but a lot of times my answers were very short with him. And it's okay if I want to mind my business at work. And like, I've seen so many TikToks about this, and I've seen so many like other girls talk about this, especially Black women. Like, being a beautiful Black woman in a workspace sometimes can be very, not it, because a lot of the time, like, for some reason, when you're a beautiful Black woman in a workspace who just minds her own business, it just rubs some people the wrong way for some reason. I don't know what it is, but it just really rubs some people the wrong way. And I've noticed that so much, and that's just not it. That's just not it for me. But something that I feel like we don't talk about enough is when you're a confident woman, especially a confident Black woman, there are going to be a lot of people who will try to seek validation from you. And it can be in small ways, and it can be in really, really big ways. But I'll say one more thing about this situation and then I'm done. But I think the part of it that made me so uncomfortable was the fact that I could feel him fiending for my attention at times. There were times where it was like it would be silent, but I could feel and like hear him in the silence, if that makes sense. Like, I always feel like as a woman, especially, like, you can feel when a man is trying to, invade your energy, and it doesn't necessarily mean that he was doing it with cruel intentions, because I don't really believe that, but I do think that there were times where it was like I could feel him trying to push his energy onto me, which could have been intentional or not, like, you know what I mean, but I could feel that. And I feel like that's why I was uncomfortable in those situations, because I I don't have space for other people's energy. I only have space for my own energy. And especially at that time in my life, it was when I was very secluded, and I was kind of actively and intentionally making sure that I was clearing out my own energy. And so having another person who was like really trying to get my attention, I was just, it just fell off to me. So that's just something to keep in mind as well. Something that I've had to understand is like, with myself even, like, confidence is such a singular job, like, you know, and obviously there are people who inspire confidence, and I feel like that is really important, but it is really such a singular thing that you kind of have to just kind of take on within yourself. And it's kind of a hard, like, can be very difficult, and it can be a hard journey. I will say too, like, there's a lot of people in this world who will try to discourage you from being your most confident self. I've had a lot of situations where I have felt really confident, you know, going out or going somewhere, and I've had people just like make comments to me about the way that I look or the way that I'm dressed, or, you know, just little sly things that people will say. And I've had it from men, and I've had it from women. I had a girl one time, I was wearing this dress that like I never wear, this like beautiful black dress that's kind of a little bit more on the risque side, but I was wearing this like beautiful black dress, and I remember she like made a comment about it, and when we were like going out, and I think too that night, like, she hadn't seemed like she really wanted to like go out very much, so she was kind of like maybe just like had a little bit of like a mood to her, but like that's fine. Sometimes you just do at those nights, because I've been that way too, so like I completely understand. Sometimes you just don't want to go out, and then you force yourself to go out, and it's like you fucking hate yourself for doing that to yourself. But I remember she like I was like feeling very good about myself in this dress, and I remember she made a comment about she was like, oh yeah, like, you know, gotta use that sex appeal. And I was just like, okay. I didn't say anything. And that's another thing, ladies and gents, and you know what, honestly, whoever whoever, girls, gays, guys, boys, whoever, I don't care. But that's another thing, is like, I didn't say anything when she said that, because I didn't feel like I needed to. I just made a mental note of it in my head, and I said, okay, all right, that's good to know. And that's good. That's all that I needed to know. That's all that I needed to know. And I just said thank you to the universe and to God for showing me this. And that's all that you need to know. But I remember her saying that. And then I also remember there's been other instances where one time I was walking around, and I was wearing a new jumpsuit that I got, that I was like feeling really confident in. It was like orange, and I kind of like did this like whole monochromatic look, and I was walking, and this gay man like stopped me, and he was like smiling and I thought he was gonna give me a compliment, and he instead says, oh, when you were walking, I was calling you oatmeal. And I was like, what? And he was like, yeah, I was calling you oatmeal. He's like, because you're so monochromatic. And I was just like, okay, all right. And so it's just little things like that that I feel like you will sometimes notice when you are a very confident person. And a lot of times when those things would happen in the past, before I really kind of understood what they really meant, I let them really get to me at times. Like, I really let the things that people said to me get to me. And sometimes it's those little things that people say that almost hurt sometimes more than the big things, because sometimes they're just small enough. They're just small enough for you to think that, oh, maybe I can overlook that. You know, maybe I can overlook that. And maybe that's not what they meant. But then there's that part of you that is like, I know what they meant, and I know what they were trying to do by saying that, but it's just small enough that it's like, you don't have to like make a big deal about it. But it's very tricky. It's very tricky. And but a lot of times when people would say things like that to me, I would just be like, why are people being like having like these microaggressions with me, or like saying these little snide comments? Because I just never understood that until I started like really seeing myself for who I really was. And I feel like that's another thing too, is like, ladies, I keep saying just ladies, but like when I say ladies, I literally mean everyone. Everyone is welcome to this conversation. But you need to know who you are. And when I say that, like, that's like a big thing. I know a lot of people are like, who am I? And I have that internal thing too. But what I mean by that is I had a tarot reader who she did a reading for me, and one of the things that she said in it was, you need to start asking yourself why. You need to start asking yourself why these people are like really asking yourself why these people feel the need to put you down. She's like, what do you think that they see in you that they feel they need to put you down? And for some reason that kind of unlocked something in my mind, where it was like, yeah, like, you know what, like why do people need to feel the need to put me down in certain ways, like these small microaggressive ways, like, you know, why is that? And eventually I was able to come to the conclusion that and she said too, what are they seeing in you that you may not be seeing in yourself, but they see it enough to feel the need to criticize you or put you down in these really, really small ways, and just kind of get in your mind and play with your head a little bit like that. And so it's like, what are they seeing that you might not be seeing? And why do you think that they are, you know, feeling the need to say these things? And I realized that I am a lot more confident than I ever thought that I was. And for some reason that like really unlocked that for me, and it showed me too, it was like, having a silent confidence is the most powerful thing that you can do sometimes. And having that silent confidence in yourself that's so unwavering. And I feel like there are so many people, and I'm sure there are so many people who are watching this video, where I just want to tell you that if you've experienced a lot of these things in your life, or even if you haven't experienced a lot of these things in your life, a lot of you are out there walking with this amazing, beautiful, powerful, silent confidence that you don't even realize. And so that's just, if you take away anything from this video, that's what I want you to know, is that confidence is one of those things that sometimes you feel like you're seeking it out, when it's like, you don't always have to seek it out, because sometimes you just are. You know? And I think that's something that I had to realize about myself, which was like, sometimes like I just am. And some people are really, really threatened by that. And that is completely their problem and not mine. And now sometimes when I have those instances where, you know, people will say things to me, I don't take it personally at all. I don't get mad at them. I don't hate them. I could care less about them, if I'm being completely honest. It's one of those things where like, you just kind of have to let it go. And the takeaway from what you experience is that, okay, this person was a total dick to me for no reason, or they just said that little small thing to me for no reason, to kind of like chip at your confidence in that small way, and kind of make you feel like have a little bit of less pep in your step, you know? And you just have to take that and use that as fuel to give you even more pep in your step. And so that's what I would say. I don't know. I feel like confidence is such this crazy thing, and I feel like we spent a lot of time talking about how to like gain confidence and all this stuff. And I think some people just need to hear that you are confident, and you know, obviously practices and like affirmations and you know, self-love and like mirror gazing are things that have helped me with my confidence. But sometimes you have to use the haters to be your biggest you have to haters are my biggest motivators. But sometimes it's true. Sometimes when people are showing you their uglier sides, it's an opportunity for you to show your most beautiful side. And yeah, let me know if you guys want to have more conversations like this, if you have any more questions about like confidence and being your most confident self no matter what, and walking through life with confidence no matter what, and even other topics. I love talking about so many things. So let me know in the comments what you guys think, and if you guys have had any of these experiences yourselves, and you know, show some love, obviously. Yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope that I see you again on my next video. I did link all of my stuff in the description box down below, so if you want to follow me on Instagram, you are more than welcome. If you want to follow me on TikTok, you are more than welcome. I don't know how much content you'll really be getting out of me on either of those platforms, but you are more than welcome to follow me if you want to. I would love to hear what you guys have to say, and yeah, I would love to just interact with you guys more and see where this whole thing goes. But I hope you enjoyed my first video ever. And yeah, I love you all. Thanks for joining me. All right.